Do you think there's no hope for resolving your anxiety because there's a physical contributor like an infection, toxin, or nutrient deficiency? Well, think again. This video is for you if you are struggling with anxiety, but maybe you don't know if something physical might be contributing to it, like a toxin or an infection or a nutrient deficiency or a hormone imbalance, sleep deprivation, or something else. Well, I'm putting together a free training for you guys, a whole series of trainings actually about the most common physiological contributors to anxiety. As a physician who has treated tons of patients for all those physical issues and more, I'm very aware of the connections between anxiety and some of these physiological stressors. So, in this series of trainings, I will be naming some of those common physical contributors that could be having an impact on your anxiety. And then I'm going to talk about how do you find out if that is what's going on and how do you address those other physical stressors. So, in this video series, I'm going to walk you through the common players, which are lifestyle factors, nutrient deficiencies, hormone imbalances, mold and other toxic exposures, chronic infections and overgrowths, inflammation, and injuries to the vagus nerve. Now, I know that may sound like scary territory for some of you. You know, some of those things I mentioned might be like, oh, what is that? Or I don't want to know if that's causing it. But just to reassure you, everything I'm going to talk about in this section has a solution. Everything that I'm going to talk about in this video series is something you can get professional help with. And everything I'm going to talk about is also dramatically benefited by doing some neural retraining. And in some cases, that's all you need to do to resolve that other physiological stressor. In other cases, more than one thing needs to be done. So, if you're feeling anxious about looking into, learning about, or addressing any of those physical issues, I'm also going to teach you how to use the free processes in our free programs to help yourself with that anxiety so that you can actually take action to move your health forward instead of being stuck in fear and paralysis. Before I dive deep into the specific trainings on each of those topics, I want to address one of the most common and important questions that we get asked first. The question is one that your doctor and your therapist and other healthcare providers probably cannot answer for you. But since I have expertise both in naturopathic/functional medicine and in neural retraining, I can help you answer this for yourself. So the question that we often get asked is, how do I know if X symptom I'm dealing with is being caused by stress physiology, i.e., limbic and autonomic dysfunction, right? Or if it's being caused by a physical stressor, such as a toxin. The answer to that is we have to gather clues to find out. But if you're not sure, the best place to start is always to start with gathering clues through neural retraining. So let me explain a little bit about why that is. Number one, it will give you your first clue. So if you use one of the neural retraining processes that we've given to you in a free program, and you get even some symptomatic relief from it, then you know your limbic and autonomic nervous system are at the very least involved in producing that symptom. And if you were to keep going and using those neural retraining processes over time consistently, then you may find that nervous system dysregulation was the entire root of the issue, and the symptom just fades away. The other reason to start with neural retraining is because neural retraining will only help with whatever symptom you're dealing with. And it may be all that's needed to resolve it. This is actually often the case with our clients. And very often, the other physical contributors to anxiety were actually secondary or caused by the fact that somebody's nervous system was dysregulated in the first place. As an example, let's say that somebody has been chronically stressed for a long period of time. We would expect that that person would have some significant hormonal imbalances, right? Cortisol is going to be either too high or too low. It's going to be negatively affecting sex hormones and thyroid. That's just how it works. That's how stress physiology works. So we would expect to see that hormonal imbalance. However, we don't need to go after the hormonal imbalance. We need to go after the reason why that person has the hormonal imbalance, which is this stress physiology. Otherwise, that person will be stuck on whatever hormonal management tools that they are trying to use. So the other reason neural retraining should be your first step in gathering clues is because it's incredibly safe and it naturally supports the way the brain and body heal on their own. Many of the other treatment styles out there don't just simply support the body's own healing mechanisms, but instead they try to suppress and control the way the body is functioning. And since those suppression and control options usually have quite a bit more risk and side effects involved, they're not the best first line option. Okay, one more reason for you. That is because you have by far the most immediate control over your own internal stress programming and emotional responses, right? Whereas it may take you time to figure out if you have a toxic burden and where you got it and how to detoxify it. And once you start detoxifying, if your nervous system is not well regulated, that toxin excretion is going to be painfully slow. And so, starting with the neural retraining perspective, even if you end up having some of these other physiological contributors that need to be addressed on their own, you will be a lot more successful at addressing them if you have dealt with your own nervous system dysregulation first. So, in general, this is how I went about figuring out what was causing my own symptoms, if it was my nervous system or something else. And in many cases for me, it was actually both. But this really varies a lot from person to person. So the first thing I did was I did some journaling. And the purpose of that journaling for me was to reflect on each of my chronic symptoms and then ask myself some questions about it, right? Did it start during or right after a stressful or emotionally distressing or exhausting time in my life? Have I had a lot of stress or emotional upset in my life lately that could be contributing to the symptom now? And does this symptom seem to get worse whenever I'm more upset or I'm more stressed? If I answered yes to some or all those questions about a symptom, then it was a clear indicator that my limbic system was involved in producing that symptom. So every time I would have a symptom flare, another thing I would do is I would ask myself, okay, did something upset me or stress me out in the last 48 hours? It's important to remember that that something that is stressing you out may not actually be outside you. It may be inside you. Oftentimes, we stress ourselves out with our thought patterns, right? And so don't forget that when you're asking yourself that question about whether something stressed or upset you in the last 48 hours. The other thing to ask yourself is, did I stress or upset myself in the last 48 hours, right? If I did answer yes to that, yes, something upset or stressed me in the last 48 hours, then I knew that in order to get relief from this symptom, I needed to calm down the stress physiology. I needed to shift states back into rest, digest, and heal. Right. So I would sit down and do a neural retraining process to help calm that symptom down. And if I did feel better after doing the neural retraining process, then I got even more confirmation that my limbic system was helping to produce that symptom. Over time, with dedication to regular regulation activities and rewiring the roots of my stress programs, I then started watching for evidence of my symptoms slowly fading away and celebrating every little thing that changed in a positive direction. And most of them did, actually, just from neural retraining. And if any of those symptoms plateaued for an extended period of time, then I would start considering, maybe there is something else going on here. What could that be? Let me look a little bit deeper into the other potential things that could be going on. So this is how I suggest you start gathering clues for yourself And when you do, you'll be surprised to discover how many of your symptoms are actually based in nervous system dysregulation. And that's especially the case for anxiety. So if you found yourself here for help with anxiety, panic attacks, and phobias, you're in good company. And we are here to help with all aspects of that, not just the neural retraining part. So I hope you enjoy this series. I'm going to be releasing them at random dates, but I will announce them when they're ready to be released. You can let us know if you want to get access to those. I'm so excited to share this powerful knowledge with you. So, if you do want to get this new training series as it comes out, please comment below. Comment physical if you would like to receive this whole training series about the physiological contributors to anxiety, and I will direct message the training to you as soon as it drops. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you soon.